Tēnā koutou, everybody. That is Te Reo Māori, which is the original language here in New Zealand, and it just means hello, everybody. So I just said hello, everybody. I'm here in lovely Timaru, and I just have had an aha moment with my partner last night, and I just love all things relationship. Always learning. So a little part of our human design profile or body graph or chart or whatever you like to call it, just our design, has to do with digestion of food. So it's not about what you're eating, whether keto works for you or raw or vegan or you're here to eat meat or whatever. It's nothing to do with that. It's how you eat it. And I have known for a while that my best way to eat food is to eat it cold, so lower than body temperature. And I've just been experimenting with it. So like everything in human design, it's just an experiment. If it doesn't work, don't do it. It's that easy. It's not a dogmatic, you must eat cold food. But I started last April and I've been doing it for about a year, and for me, it's been amazing. Absolutely amazing. I have more energy in between meals. I haven't changed what I eat at all, which was a medical medium protocol basically for my health, because I've had chronic fatigue and a lot of other issues over the years. So I'm still doing all that, but I just made sure it had always cooled down to room temperature or lower than my body temperature. That's what I felt was the right thing to do. So I'm a big fan of this for me, and more energy between meals. I'm not as hungry when I do need to eat. One problem that I had in the past was keeping weight on, and since medical medium I've been able to keep it on, and with the cold food as well, it's just stayed on. So it's been big for me. But right at the beginning, when I was looking up the digestion information for my partner, his is about, what's his? He needs to eat in a calm environment. So he doesn't need to be calm, but the environment around him needs to be calm. And I remember thinking, that's cool. So I have slowly over time realized I'm not going to talk to him while he's eating. And I told him, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm experimenting with. What do you think? Would you prefer that? And he's like, oh yeah, I just want to be by myself while I'm eating. That he hadn't, reflected on it, or we hadn't discussed it. So started doing that at home and having some conversations around that. And last night we went out for dinner at this amazing restaurant called Thai Box in Christchurch, which is in New Zealand. And it was just really delicious food. I love going out for dinner. So the other part of my digestion, the temperature's got to be cold, and I have this thing called thirst, which means I'm thirsty for new experiences. I never want to go to the same restaurant twice. Even if I loved it, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I know it's there. I can go back. But I'm thirsty for a new experience. I want to try something new. I want to eat something new. So I was all excited to go to this new restaurant and try new food. And it was really super delicious. And there were fairy lights and plants hanging from the ceiling and all these things that made it a new and exciting experience for me. And I love going out to eat. It's just one of my favorite things. And now that I know about this thirst thing, I'm like, oh, that's why. And I'll hardly ever go back to the same restaurant. I'm just like, oh yeah, been there, done that. Let's move on. I was talking to my partner about it afterwards and asking him about his experience of going to restaurants, and he said it's not actually my favorite. And I was like, what? People don't like going to restaurants? And he was saying it's just not for him. He finds it a bit too noisy. There's too much going on. He would like to go to something a bit quieter and where he knows what he's going to get. And as he was talking, I just had this aha moment where I realized, of course, and I hadn't thought about all the implications of someone needing a calm environment around them. And something that could be calming as well is knowing what food you're going to get, knowing that it's tried and true. knowing that it's going to taste good. That could be calming. And so there were all these elements he was talking about, and I just can't get that perspective because for me, I have a different digestion need, but there's no way I was going to figure that out for myself without asking him. And it was really cool. Like, we've had these conversations before about calm and what's it like to be calm when you're eating, but I'm really into human design. He's not so much. But just human design aside, listening to him just be really honest about what he needs from a restaurant made me realize when we go out for dates, I'm always like, cool, let's go somewhere new. And he always looks slightly like, oh, can't we just go back to the same old place? So moving forward in the future, we will have to have some discussions about how we navigate that. And I have said maybe I need to get an eating out friend I can go on dates with so we can go out to restaurants together and try new things. And maybe it's about having separate experiences because I'm happy to go out by myself. But this is part of human design that really fascinates me is we have all this conditioning, and a lot of it might come from movies or what people tell us we should do. And going out for dinner is a big one. It's like you go out to a restaurant together. But if one of you's having a horrible time, like if we go out together to the same restaurant we've been to, I'm not going to enjoy it as much. And that's relationships have compromise in them, and we all navigate this differently. But it's just so good to know. And I realized I think my needs have been met with going out for food, but I don't know about my partner's. So I'm just reflecting this morning that with human design, it is about a future that's coming where we are all focusing more on who we are as individuals so that we can contribute better to the collective. It's not about being selfish or letting go of the tribe, although there will be a little less tribal energy. But it's, there'll be less of being up in each other's face and intimate with each other as a large group. But it's going to be more about people going, this is how I am. This is how I came into the world. This is how I rocked up to be. And like it or lump it, I'm embracing it. And when I do, as uncomfortable as it makes everyone else feel, and maybe even myself, this is how I need to contribute to the world. And so discovering these things about yourself that are perhaps different from what you thought you should do. There's all these relationship experts saying you've got to compromise. It's like, well, why would I want to go out and have a horrible time? Because it's not the best thing for my health, because it is, the digestion side of it is all about health. It's about our brain health, our body health. It's about living in a physical body, making sure we're digesting our food in the right way. It's like, yeah, occasionally we will make compromises, but just such a cool conversation to have with my partner. So this morning I've just been reflecting on it, that we often don't ask these questions because we've been trained to compromise. We've been trained to say, oh, I'm in a relationship. We make compromises. And how long does it go on for? And in what little ways? And yeah, we will keep making compromises, but having that discussion and knowing that one of us is making a compromise and bringing it out in the open and, looking at it through a little microscope, it's just got to be good for your relationship to know what's going on. And I think if your partner's tired or stressed, like if my partner's tired or stressed in the future and we need to stop at a restaurant and I'm feeling great, I'm going to go with what he needs, somewhere quiet with simple food that's calming, the environment's calming, he's feeling safer. That's the sort of compromise I'm talking about, that I think comes informed by understanding your design. And you don't even have to be into human design to start to unpack all these concepts. Like I had realized years ago, when I go out for a hot drink with people, I hated it. People go, oh, do you want to come for tea or coffee? And I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm sitting there for 45 minutes waiting for my boiling hot drink to cool down so I could drink it. Now, I just thought that was me, that I couldn't drink hot drinks. And I was always like, oh, there's something weird with me. Well, there is. And probably millions of people on the planet as well prefer their food cold. But I wasn't strong enough to say, I just want a juice. Or even to ask the person behind the counter, can you add some cold water to that? So I didn't need to know about human design to figure out that was my design. But what I hadn't given myself permission to do was to be quirky and different and say, can you bring me some cold water with my tea? And I actually, come to think of it, I had started doing that in the last few years, but I was just over going out for hot drinks. I was like, oh, this is so awkward. And the other person's like, right, I'm ready to go, look at their watch. And I'm like, just getting started. So yeah, I guess if you're watching this and you're interested in digestion, you can have a look around on the internet, but you can just ask yourself, do I like to eat a lot of foods at once? Do I like to explore eating different foods? Like, what really lights me up? Do I like my food really hot? So the flip side of my digestion profile is people who have their food really hot. Do I like it when it's cool? Like when I look back over my past as a kid, I was always sitting at the table waiting for my food to cool. And once it was, there's like this lukewarm temperature. I don't like it really cold, but there's a lukewarm temperature where it's just so delicious to me. My lukewarm life. Do you need a calm environment? Some people need to have a kind of noisy environment around them. So they need to get up and they need to be in that restaurant with all the conversations going on. And that actually helps their digestion better. Like there's all these questions you can ask yourself. And maybe ask your partner, do you really love coming out to a restaurant? Like deep down, put aside the fact you're spending time with me. Because that's what my partner said. He said, I come because I want to spend time with you. And I think that's great. And I also don't want him to have to compromise his enjoyment of life because we're out in a funky restaurant with loud music playing and, cool visuals and funky artwork on the walls. And I'm just going, yeah, it's all new. I'm thirsty for this new experience. And he's like, I just want to be in a booth somewhere quiet. Anyway, I just had to share, feeling passionate about human design digestion this week. Just been reviewing everything I know or think I know, because we don't know anything really, do we? And thank you for listening. Ka kite anō, which means I'll see you next time. And enjoy wherever you are in the world. We've got severe weather warning this weekend for rain, so I will be inside doing paperwork. All right. Now, I haven't got my glasses on, so I'm going to have to figure out how to turn this off. Good question. Bye.